Sloth can sleep for 18 hours straight. Sloth can hang from a branch and stare into the void like it's the most peaceful thing in the universe. Sloth can do absolutely nothing and somehow make it look like an art form. But ask Sloth to put down his phone for just 10 minutes. Suddenly, Sloth acts like he's being asked to run a marathon through a cactus field. And here's the painful part. Sloth knows. Deep down, Sloth knows the scrolling is wasting his time. Sloth knows that 2 hours from now he'll feel empty, tired, and somehow even more bored than before. But Sloth still can't stop. His thumb just keeps going. Down, down, down. Like it has its own agenda. So why can't Sloth stop? Why does the phone feel more powerful than Sloth's own brain? And most importantly, is there a way to outsmart whatever is hijacking Sloth's mind? The answer starts with a tiny chemical inside Sloth's brain called dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, the thing that makes Sloth feel happy. But that's not quite right. Dopamine doesn't make Sloth feel good. Dopamine makes Sloth want. It's the craving chemical. It's the invisible leaf dangling in front of Sloth's face. Sloth hasn't even touched it yet, but just the thought of it gets his slow little claws reaching forward. Now here's where it gets interesting. Every time Sloth opens his phone and scrolls, his brain gets a tiny hit of dopamine. Not from anything amazing, just from the possibility that the next post might be funny, shocking, or satisfying. That uncertainty, that maybe the next one will be great, is exactly what keeps Sloth scrolling. It's the same reason people can't stop pulling a slot machine lever. The reward isn't guaranteed, and that's exactly what makes it addictive. Scientists call this a variable reward system, and tech companies didn't stumble onto this by accident. They built it on purpose. Every app on Sloth's phone was designed by rooms full of very smart people whose only job was to figure out how to keep Sloth's claw moving and his eyes glued to the screen. The infinite scroll, the notification badge, the little sound when someone likes Sloth's post. All of it engineered to trigger dopamine over and over again. But here's the problem. Sloth's brain has a rule called homeostasis. It always tries to stay balanced. When Sloth floods his brain with constant dopamine hits from scrolling, his brain adapts. It dials down the sensitivity. Like a speaker that's been turned up too loud for too long, everything starts to sound flat. So now, when Sloth tries to do something simple, read a book, go for a slow walk, just sit quietly, his brain whispers, boring. Not because those things are actually boring, but because Sloth's dopamine system has been recalibrated by something far more stimulating. His brain is no longer satisfied by quiet, slow, real life. This is called dopamine tolerance, and it explains why Sloth feels restless the moment the screen goes dark. His brain has been trained to expect fireworks, and real life just can't compete. So what can Sloth do? The first step is something called a dopamine reset. Imagine Sloth has been eating gourmet junk food every single day. Chocolate-covered everything. Deep-fried leaves. The works. After a while, a simple plain leaf tastes like cardboard. But if Sloth goes a few days without the junk food, that same plain leaf suddenly tastes amazing again. That's the logic behind a dopamine reset. By temporarily removing the high-stimulation activities, Sloth gives his brain a chance to recalibrate. There are two ways Sloth can do this. The first is a full reset. One whole day with no phone, no social media, no streaming, just Sloth sitting with boredom. And when boredom hits hard enough, suddenly a walk outside or a conversation with a friend feels genuinely enjoyable. The second is a gentle reset. Once a week, Sloth removes one high dopamine habit. No social media on Sundays, no phone for the first hour of the morning. Small breaks that slowly lower Sloth's tolerance over time. But the reset is only part of the solution. The other part is rebuilding the system. Sloth needs to flip the order. Instead of grabbing the phone the moment he wakes up, Sloth does the work first and earns the reward after. 1 hour of focus earns Sloth 15 minutes of guilt-free scrolling. Finish the task, get the leaf. The brain learns that effort leads to reward, and slowly, doing hard things starts to feel less painful. And here's the most important thing Sloth needs to understand. The apps are not going anywhere. The notifications will keep coming. The scroll will stay infinite. The only thing Sloth can change is his own brain. And the good news is, brains are more flexible than Sloth thinks. With a reset, a better system, and a little patience, Sloth's brain can learn to find satisfaction in slow, quiet, real things again. Not because Sloth became superhuman, but because Sloth finally stopped letting someone else decide what his brain craves. The Sloth says, "Thanks for watching. If this hit close to home, leave a like and consider subscribing. It helps more than you think."